Game started.
Suavecito. Let's see, what do I do for a first move here? How about e4? I got a regular d4 game, so let's try e4. Oh, I was thinking I wanted to try the bishop's opening again, but let's see. Can I do something? Let's go for the Ruy Lopez. I don't know if I've had one of those in quite a while. See what kind of reaction we get to the old Ruy. The Steinitz defense, the old Steinitz defense. I think you play d4 right away. Oh, and he just takes. So you've sort of gained the center. That's called surrendering the center. Not such a big deal, really. And now you have to decide if you want to trade everything off or not. Takes the knight. You can take the bishop first with check and then take the knight back. So you don't have to do anything immediately. So I think I will just castle. And he's putting some pressure on the pawn. We'll defend the pawn with the rook. And then play my bishop to g5. That's the idea. Oh, he just defends with the bishop. So bishop g5 is not looking so great. Still, he can't, well, he can't take. He takes, I take there with check, queen takes, and then I take the knight, so that's still okay. The question is, do I want to play knight c3 or do I want to try and push the c-pawn forward? Never sure. Let's try and push the c-pawn forward. This gives me another option. Now I could play knight takes knight and I could take the knight back first. Now I have to decide. I don't necessarily want to give up this knight or this bishop. But, well, let's see. If I retreat the knight, where is it going? Maybe knight here is interesting. Knight f5. See if he wants to take with his light squared bishop. This is his good bishop. And so he could take my knight, giving up his good bishop, but giving me doubled pawns. And maybe this is a hard pawn to defend. So maybe this is good or not. But I have something to play for. I have the bishop pair, and this is the worst bishop. So I can just retreat here. I don't immediately want to resolve the issue. I want to place my queen on. I want to place my queen on this square, e2, and threaten to take his bishop. But he defends it. Yeah, maybe it's a silly idea. Yeah, let's put my bishop in front of the queen, so I'm not. The bishop is pinned now, but at least it's not. At least it's not my queen being hit. I'm keeping his knight out of the g4 square, so he can't do too much against this bishop. He could come into. He could come into. What's this square? d4 with his knight, taking advantage of the pin. But I can just move my queen, I think. In fact, I'll go ahead and move my queen now. Let's get out ahead of any knight moves. Maybe bishop back to c2, defending this f-pawn. Oh, it's not under attack. I don't know. I don't know what my big plan is here. Maybe knight. Okay, so he moved his knight away. Yeah, he moved the rook, which unpinned his knight, and now he moves his knight, hitting the c-pawn. So now I have to decide. If I want to defend the c-pawn, I can push. Takes. Might be a way of destabilizing the center. I could push. He pushes forward. Gives him a passed pawn. Might be tough for him to defend that passed pawn, though. Let's try this. See what we get. If he pushes forward, I guess bishop b3 to put more pressure on the pawn. Or maybe pawn to c6 first. Pawn to c6, he could take. Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure about all of this. This, though, is a good diagonal for the bishop, so can't be too bad. But there's something a little weak about my pawn structure, these pawns thrown forward, so maybe, most likely there is a way for black to take advantage of that. First, let's take a pawn here. Maybe if I grab this pawn and give up this pawn, that's okay. The question is it safe for my queen to take here? Queen here is in the potential discovery from the bishop. So queen d6, is there some great move of the rook? I don't see it. And the queen on d6 is putting a little pressure there. Well, say queen d6, rook to d7. Well, then I can take the knight. I will take that pawn. And then if he grabs this pawn, I can take his rook over here. Because the queen, although it's attacking my pawn, is also defending his rook on b8. Conveniently for me. So I guess I'm okay now, right? The pawns are, even if he wins this pawn back, the pawns will be even and I won't have any more evil loose pawns. Okay, where does the queen want to go? Here is not safe. Here is maybe possible. Here is not safe, to defend the... Let's go all the way back to d2. And then he grabs there, yeah, so I think I want to chase the queen away from that location. Although I don't have to do it right away, but maybe this is useful. Okay. Now if I can get rid of this knight here, then I could place my queen on the diagonal and start to threaten things along this diagonal. Also, the knight is kind of pinned against the rook there. Okay, so that didn't unpin, but it did defend. Defends the rook. Can I bring more pressure onto it? I can play knight to knight e4 to attack the queen. Knight takes, bishop takes, but then maybe he's got rook here to attack my queen. I guess I have safe squares. And my bishop, I think, is safe here. It's defended by the rook. This is maybe loose after my queen gets chased away. But at the moment, the queen is not chased away. I was thinking with the rook move to chase the queen away, then that leaves this bishop a little bit loose here. So where do I want to go? Could go over here to the queen side. Or I could try to get something going on the king side. Putting some indirect pressure on the knight. If I could trade everything off and leave a queen there, then have a discovered attack with bishop here check, that would be nice. I don't see that happening right away. Or even, yeah, so he brings more force in to defend the knight. And now there's a threat of knight here check. Yeah, knight here check I can take with the queen, so it's not that much of a threat. Yeah, let's harass his queen and see where it goes. See how we're doing on time. 3.5 minutes. Okay, then. I'd really like to get my queen here. Let's see, if I trade, and bishop here hitting this pawn, I have rook here hitting the queen. Let's go ahead and trade. It's because the knight is controlling all these squares, my queen can't really easily get into the game, so let's do this. And then I thought that would be a nice tempo move against the queen there. And if the queen goes there, is he threatening to win my bishop? Oh, I don't know why I can't just take his pawn. Is there a back rank threat? Bishop is guarding this diagonal, so there is potential for back rank problems. How about queen here? Maybe the queen can come forward actually to f5 and threaten something here. Say queen f5, g6. Rook takes g6 check, pawn takes g6, queen takes g6 check. If the king goes in the corner, queen h7 is mate. If the king goes this way, then what? I've sacrificed a rook. There better be something. Queen takes here check. These bishop and queen controlling the dark squares makes that combination not work, I think. It would work if there was something on f8 to prevent his king from running away. If he plays queen takes b2, then I'm playing rook takes a6, defending my a pawn and just holding on to the material balance. Since we have opposite colored bishops, this favors the side that's attacking. So I can attack on the light squares and he can't really defend on them. So I should really try to come up with attacking ideas in this kind of position. Well, that's interesting. He just defends. So if I take the rook, he's going to take with the pawn. Let's see, if I play queen to f5 first, he plays g6. I can't really take there. If I take the rook, he's taking back with the pawn, so he'll be left with kind of a messed up pawn structure. That's something. And then I have to do something about my b2 pawn, I guess. He has rook f8. I have queen here. This maybe is an idea. Hitting the hitting the d pawn on d6, and getting away from rook f8. Rook f8 is still a threat because the queen and rook are coordinating on the f2 square. I don't know about this. There's also the threat of queen to g6. Threatening queen h7, driving the king out here. But I don't know what I'll do after rook f8. I might have to play bishop to f3 to block this. Or maybe I can just defend. Rook f8, rook f1. Just defend the f2 pawn. Okay, well, he's stopping to think. It's a tricky situation. Queen went there. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to let him take my rook. Let's see, I can't play rook to d8 because he can actually just take that. I mean, rook d1, queen takes, rook takes, and that's even mate. So let's try rook here. Still have ideas of queen g6. Or queen takes. I could have thrown in queen takes e6, d6 check, because that's with check. But then I would have had to move the rook. So is there a way for him to guard both g6 and e6? I don't see it. So I think I'm going to get something out of this. Or unless he plays a queen to... that's the way for him to do it. Yeah, queen to f4. I just saw that idea. Okay, I can take here with check, and then I can play g3 to drive his queen away, I think.
Check.
So at least I'll get something out of this. Oh, but my bishop is hanging. Ah. Ah, that was dumb. That was dumb. Okay, so can I defend the bishop in some way without losing to the checkmate threat? Rook here, for example. Queen here, check. King here. Queen here, check. King to e2. And then what? It also has rook moves. So rook to, well, let's try it. Rook here, defending the bishop. If this doesn't work, I mean, other moves seem to lose anyway, and I'm short on time. So let's play this and see what happens. But I'm thinking queen here, king here, queen here, check is the only follow-on move I see. King to e2. And then the queen can't come back and check me again on e2. Can take, no, I can't even take on g2 because the bishop defends it. And I can still get onto g6, which would threaten mate. Queen g6 threatens immediate mate, conveniently. Also, if he plays a move like queen h1 check, driving my king back, he has to worry about his undefended bishop, so he probably just has to go back to h2. He could try, you know what he should try is rook here. But then I have a check on the back rank that looks mating, so I don't think that works. Rook d2, we're threatening checkmate. I deliver a check. The king has no moves. Yeah, so that's mate. So he can't leave the back rank unless he does it with check. Well, I may have survived this game. It's really tricky when both sides are attacking. Let's see, how long has he been thinking on this move? 244 to 116. That's a long think. At some point you have to notice your clock is ticking down and make a move. But I think I'm maybe even winning here because he can't cover the g6 square. Oh, you know, he could play... Oh, but once again, any rook lift is met with queen to d8 mate, queen e8 mate. So he just comes back with the queen. Okay, so I'm going here to threaten this mate. Now, if I check, his rook is undefended. So let's think about this. Check. Rook, king here or here. I have bishop here, check. Let's see, there's also check here. Rook takes. Queen here, check. And he can interpose with the queen. Okay, what are the checks he has against me? He has a check here. If I were to move my bishop here, he could check and take the bishop. No, the bishop is defended. I'm thinking bishop c2 to b3 to give a check along this diagonal. And that allows this check, king here, bishop here, check. I'm going to try it this way. So the idea is to play bishop to d6 check and queen here mate. mate somewhere or other. But he can run to that square. And he does have one check here. King goes back to g1. And then I don't see a follow-up check except for the check on h2. Okay, look at the time. My gosh, I'm down to 34 seconds. It's too complicated. So I may just win this one on time. I'm just a pawn up, but there's enough mutual threats that maybe the best is really just a draw here. But
Black forfeits on time.
I think I had the best winning chances, but we'll take a look at this in the postmortem. See you then. Bye.